Hello, it's Friday, 12 noon at WCOM LP 103.5 FM. Welcome to the premiere broadcast of North Carolina's Chamber Chatter, a brand new monthly roundtable discussion with North Carolina's business leaders. This program is underwritten by NC Chamber Maps. You can't go anywhere without us. My name is Rick Walsh, and the business leaders joining me today with the assistance of Zoom technology are Cindy Poindexter, President of the Chatham County Chamber of Commerce, Meg Moss, the Executive Director at Sanford Area Growth Alliance, and Dana Wooten, President of the Clayton Chamber of Commerce. Cindy, Meg, Dana, it's great to have you on the program.
Great to be here. Thank you.
Also with us today is Mark Snyder. Mark created Chamber Chatter in 2018. He created it as a complement to his whimsical map company, MapTunes, of which NC Chamber Maps is an affiliate. I have invited Mark today as a thank you for helping me roll out Chamber Chatter in North Carolina. I think chambers are underutilized resources for local businesses, and I consider it the goal of Chamber Chatter to work with local chambers and get the word out. Since this is my first time on the radio, Mark will make sure I paint inside the lines, if you know what I mean. My friendship with Mark predates the internet, DVDs, cable TV, probably goes back as far as rabbit ear antennas with tinfoil. So I've known him for quite a while. So welcome, Mark.
Thanks for having me on the show, Rick. Excited to be here with you.
Great. I would like to take a moment just to say hello and have everyone introduce themselves. Cindy, why don't we start you off with you?
Hi, Cindy Poindexter with the Chatham Chamber of Commerce. We have offices located in Cellar City and in Pittsburgh, North Carolina.
That's great. Meg, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and the Sanford Area Growth Alliance?
Sure. My name is Meg Moss. I'm the Chamber of Commerce Executive Director for the Sanford Area Growth Alliance. And the great thing about the Sanford Area Growth Alliance is that we are a merged organization. So it is our Chamber of Commerce and our Economic Development Corporation under one umbrella organization.
Great. Dana, tell our listeners about Dana Wooten and the Clayton Chamber.
I'm Dana Wooten. I'm President CEO of the Clayton Chamber of Commerce, and we're one of the fastest growing towns in the state of North Carolina. So I'm proud to be the president of the chamber here.
As you should be. Well, our first segment, the group that we have assembled today, they have some big opportunities ahead of them, but with big opportunities also comes big challenges. You just asked Preston Development about big challenges. It was over 10 years ago that they envisioned Chatham Park, basically a work, play, live utopia. It's a one-stop shopping. Fast forward to 2021, and you look at Mosaic, which is probably their crown jewel in their development, and they just built it, and they've just figured they will come. So Cindy, we met the first time at the Root Cellar. I don't know if you remember, right across the street from the Mosaic. I'm not even sure all the dirt was excavated at the time that we had lunch. Chatham Park Master Plan calls for over 7,000 acres and 22,000 homes. They just can't build houses quick enough. But before asking you my first question, and in the name of transparency, I want to let our listeners know that I'm a two-time member of the Chatham County Chamber, once as a realtor for Allen Tate, and again as the owner for NC Chamber Maps. So Cindy, how do you feel about Chatham County and/or Pittsburgh with all the construction, all the future traffic? How are you going to handle all the parking? There's just so much going on right now between Mosaic and at the courthouse. Are you prepared for that?
Well, it's definitely going to be a challenge, but I think the challenge is going to be worth it. The Mosaic is going to be absolutely beautiful. Chatham Park has divided itself into villages, and they're working going 1 through 5, and the Mosaic is what's in line right now. Dining, theater, cinema, restaurants, as I said, just live, work, play area. It's going to be a great place. It's going to bring people to our area, traffic to our downtown businesses. So all in all, and I think there is a parking garage planned for Pittsburgh, but there'll be, but when you think about it, there's been challenges through every path of life, and we've gotten through it before. We'll get through it now. It'll be great for Chatham.
Absolutely.
Cindy, a question for you. How can you talk a little bit about the relationship that you have with the developers and the builders? How closely are you aligned with them?
We are actually partnering with them on an event that we have in October. We're doing our first children's business fair, and it will be at the Mosaic. It'll be October the 9th. We also have Kirk Bradley, who is one of the major partners, has a membership in our chamber under Leemore Capital, which is located in Sanford. And I just met with Kane Realty, who is going to handle day-to-day operations with Mosaic and also lease out the Guild Apartment homes there. So I've developed a relationship with them as well. So I would say we have a good relationship, yes.
So are they joining your meetings? You're joining their meetings, that kind of thing? A lot of cross-pollination?
We have joined some of their meetings in the past. You know, most everything is virtual now. We haven't been on a virtual meeting together lately. Kane Realty just joined our chamber, and I'm sure they're going to be getting involved. We went back and forth on it. Information. They're wanting to do some music series and different things like that in the Mosaic. So I've tried to assist them with some information, different contacts and all with that.
Great.
That's great. Dana, Clayton doesn't have Chatham Park, but they do have Route 540 coming. And when that green corridor gets completed, the interchange is only going to be like 3.47. I measured it on Google Earth. Away from Clayton, straight down Business 70. It appears the developers are getting a jump on everyone. I read in last month's Triangle Business Journal, and I quote, another massive project proposed in Johnston County. They were referring to like a 700-unit development. I think it's on the east side of Clayton. And the developer is also a local company called River Wild. So just good there. Add this development to Ashcroft, Academy Point, which is going to be in walking distance, I believe, from downtown Clayton. Lumens, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, another 600 houses and almost 1 million square feet of retail and commercial space. You know, you get these numbers and it's no wonder that the cost of lumber is up 150% and steel has doubled. I'm just curious, basically almost the same question. The influx of people, the 1 million plus square feet of retail, commercial, the times they are changing. Is the chamber ready for it?
Yes, I think the chamber is definitely ready for it. We are developing relationships, marketing the new businesses, making sure that we're on the forefront of building our and developing our relationships with the investors, the developers, the working on the infrastructure. We just learned today there was an announcement that Clayton is right smack dab in the middle of 2 Amazon distribution centers. The amount of people moving here on a daily basis is just astronomical. We've been fortunate that we continue to grow during the pandemic, especially our small business community. Our downtown continues to thrive and be vibrant. We've added at least 10 new businesses just in the downtown area during the pandemic. And, we do face the challenges that every town has when you go from actually almost, more than doubling the population in the last 10 years and continue to grow, working with the town and the economic development on a local level and the county level to make sure that we have the proper infrastructure needed to, handle this new influx of growth here in this end of the Johnston County area. And it will only continue, as you mentioned, with the 540 extension that will be coming within the next 3 years. So we've got a lot of work ahead of us, but we're prepared and ready to do whatever we need to do to make this happen for the town of Clayton.
That's great. That's great.
Dana, where are your new residents coming from? What does your research show you?
I would say the majority of our residents are coming from the New York, New Jersey area, Ohio area. We are now the #1 retirement town in Clayton. In the state, excuse me. So we found out that a lot of families that are moving down here they're bringing their parents with them, and they're retiring here, and so that they can be with their families. So I would say those would be the majority of the influx of people moving here.
Now, what I heard was that people became aware that WCOM was carrying chamber chatter now, and they said, you know what, we don't need to hear it in New York anymore. Let's go down to North Carolina and listen. Is that any truth to that?
That's right.
Any truth to that?
Just puts a different accent on, right?
I have the accent? I didn't know. I thought you had the accent. Oh, that's great.
I'm originally from Jersey, you can tell, right?
Well, Meg, let me set this up for you a little bit. I want to set this up basically for our listeners. It's a little anecdote about something that happened in the mid-1800s and how not to overplay your hand. As the American railroad system was expanding both west and south, two railroad companies, Chatham and Western, wanted to build a hub in Jonesboro. And the owner of most of that land said, sure, but you're going to have to pay. Well, they turned around and they said, they want too much. Let's go to our second choice. The second choice was an area that would, in 1874, be incorporated as the town of Sanford. When they actually built the railroad, it wasn't Sanford just yet. And so thanks in a large part to Colonel C.O. Sanford and an ironic twist, in 1947, the town of Sanford merged with Jonesboro to become the city of Sanford. So it's funny how everything comes full circle. So my first question for you, Meg, is there any update on the S line as they are looking to bring back a commuter line? I saw in the newspaper, they got like a $900,000 grant that was being awarded on it, like a viability study. And I've seen articles of Mayor Mann, who seems excited about the idea. They were looking at one building, I think it was the Singer building, as an ideal location. And not only as a train station, but as like a mixed use location. So it'd be like a mini Grand Central station. Any truth to all those things?
There's some truth to all those things, and you definitely did your. So thank you for taking the time to learn about Sanford and Colonel C.O. Sanford and how we came to be. So we are definitely a railroad town. That is how we came to be. And so the excitement about the S line, the commuter rail is real. The excitement about the potential revitalization in East Sanford because of that S line is real. We have a depot in downtown Sanford where the railroad tracks cross, and we're actually in the process of renovating that depot building to become the visitor center for Sanford Lee County. We are at the point where we now have a Sanford Tourism and Development Authority, and we're able to utilize some of that funding to help develop a visitor center. We're excited to continue to welcome visitors, but we're getting more and more visitors every day. And with the S line and all of the expanded and new jobs that are coming in Lee County in the life sciences field, we feel like people will use that S line to come to work in Sanford Lee County from whether it's Wake Forest or, Wake County. We see that S line as a great advantage. So we're looking forward to it. And Mayor Mann is definitely on board.
Good.
Ladies, a quick question for the three of you before we step out and take a break. Just a little bit about, you seem like you're all experienced pros at this. What's your history with your organization? Megan, I'll go back to you. How long have you been at it now?
Sure. So sorry.
No, I thought you seem like you've got a pretty good handle on things.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I have been here at the Sanford Area Growth Alliance for just about 6 years. But prior to working for the Growth Alliance, I actually was very involved with the chamber because I ran a nonprofit organization in Sanford, and we were chamber members. And I was a volunteer with the chamber. So I was a chamber ambassador for about 6 years. So just very involved in the chamber for the past 15, 16 years.
Wow. And Dana, you've got 2 titles. You're president and CEO. So I know you just didn't start yesterday. A little background on you.
I've been here at the Clayton Chamber of Commerce for 5 years now. And previous to that, I was the executive director for the Johnson County Association of Realtors. And I was there for about 12 years before coming to the chamber.
Okay, great. Cindy, you could probably hear me. Your mic might be off, but I'm going to ask the question anyway. Here you are. Thank you. So a little bit about your background before we step out.
I've been with the chamber since 2006, started as a part-time admin. Didn't want to go back into management. And then 6 months later, our executive director had left the chamber. So it kind of spiraled from there. And almost 15 years later, I'm still here.
Rick, you have 3 pros on your first program. Good job. Was that by accident or by design?
Say that again?
Was that by accident or by design?
It's always by design. Always by design.
All right.
All right. We're going
up here.
All right. We'll take a quick break. And when we return, we will debut our Day Tripper segment. That's where we ask for local destinations, suggestions, and activities in each of our guests' area. This is Chamber Chatter on WCOM LP 103.5 FM. Chamber Chatter is a monthly roundtable discussion with North Carolina's business leaders. This program is underwritten by NC Chamber Maps. You can't go anywhere in North Carolina without us. My business leaders today are Cindy Poindexter, the president of the Chatham Chamber of Commerce, and Meg Moss, the executive director at the Sanford Area Growth Alliance, and Dana Wooten, president of the Clayton Chamber of Commerce. All right, with a little homage to the Beatles, this segment is called Day Tripper. Let me set this up for you, Dana. We'll go to you first. My wife, Michelle, and my 2 kids have worked so hard lately that we want to treat ourselves to a full day in Clayton. We just jumped in the car at sunrise, and here we are, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed at 8 a.m. What can we do for the next 10 to 12 hours?
Oh gosh, well, you have a full day, because one of the things I love about Clayton is that we have lots of choices. So one of the things that I love about Clayton is our recreation. So you could take a walk on one of our greenway paths. You could visit one of our 3 community parks, including a dog park in case you bring your furry little friend with you.
Absolutely.
And also have part of one of our East Clayton parks is the Harmony Playground. And I took Rick to visit when he came to Clayton, and it's a beautiful all-inclusive park that we have here in Clayton that we had our ribbon cutting for during the pandemic. So it was one of the highlights of the Clayton community. And we love having the all-inclusive playground where all families can come and play. So your kids could come and do that if they're of that age. We have, bike paths. We have a walking tour that we have a Clayton Connection App, and we have put your headphones in and take a walking tour of historic downtown Clayton. Sort of narrates all the different historic sites in downtown. You could visit one of our great coffee shops downtown that sometimes they have music and mimosas and great beverages, and grab a little breakfast there as well. We can, let's see, next you might want to visit, if it's on a Saturday, you might want to visit our great Clayton Community Farmers Market. We have lots of vendors and artisans downtown from 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock. and just get fresh vegetables, look at artwork, seafood, lots of great vendors down at our farmers market. Then, it might be lunchtime. You might want to grab a bite of lunch at one of our great little soda shop that we have downtown. You might want to venture out at downtown and visit some of our locally owned restaurants in the different outlying parts of Clayton from downtown. Or you might want to remain downtown and visit our different businesses down here. You might want to, on certain Saturdays, we have a bus tour of Clayton, and it's called Clayton 101 Bus Tour. And we take 50 visitors in the morning and 50 visitors in the afternoon on a bus, and we tour all the districts of Clayton, show them the different recreation, business amenities that we have here. We end up back downtown where we take a tour of the firehouse. Our local fire chief loves to show off his firehouse, and
Don't they always?
they do down here. So you could do that. The kids seem to enjoy that. We also have a sculpture trail, which is nice, and we have different sculpture pieces, about 12 to 15 sculpture pieces depending on the year, dotted all throughout Clayton. We love art here, and so not only do we have the sculpture trail, you might catch a performance at the Clayton Arts Center. Our Carolina Youth Theater puts on different plays throughout the year, and so you might want to grab a play in our auditorium. It's the old school that they refurbished, and so now it's our Clayton Arts Center. You might want to take a walk through our little community garden, which is downtown, where people can come and plant their plants and, share it within the community. You might want to grab an adult beverage at one of our distilleries or our brewery that we have here downtown. Lots of kids running around and playing, and while the parents are sitting around enjoying a cold beverage. Then at certain Saturdays, we have our concert series. We might have a movie night, family movie night downtown. And then you might want to grab a bite to eat at night at some of our upscale restaurants downtown. Music is a great big part of Clayton. You can find local artists playing music just about at every single one of our restaurants or venues at any given night here in Clayton. And if you want a really big time at the last Saturday in October, you might want to join us for our Clayton Harvest Festival, which is a harvest festival. It brings vendors downtown. It's 5 days. We have a carnival, we have a car show, we have a pig cook-off, we have a music festival on one end, a vendor fair at the other end. And then the next day we have a Latin American festival. We have lots of great music and Latin American food downtown. So there's lots going on. We have great local farms where you could pick strawberries this time of year. So lots of choices.
That's beautiful. And for those that want to know about the Harvest Festival, it is actually October 27th to October 31st, if I'm not mistaken.
That is correct.
All right, great.
Fair is that Saturday. Yes.
It's beautiful.
I don't know, Rick. It sounds a little sleepy in Clayton. Let's see what the others have to say.
I'm exhausted just from the things they put on my schedule to do in Clayton. All right, Meg. COVID is gone. The kids have been locked up, Zooming their schoolwork for 14 months, let's say. Time to treat them to some R&R. Of course, a happy wife is a happy life too. So my wife, my kids, what do you got for us, the four of us in Sanford?
Well, I feel like I've been teleported into Clayton from Sanford because we have so many of the same great attributes to our community. But I would certainly start the day with one of our coffee shops. And I hope it's okay that I name a few things
Absolutely.
by name. So the Eyelight Cafe is a brand new coffee shop that opened in downtown Jonesboro, actually. And the Eyelight Cafe was part of our RISE program, which is real investment in Sanford entrepreneurs, which has been a really successful program in opening new businesses in Sanford. So you can start with coffee at the Eyelight Cafe and in Jonesboro, and then you can make your way downtown. We've got several women's boutiques that I just love to go. I can spend a whole day in downtown Sanford on a Saturday. It's great. Two of those boutiques opened during COVID, and we're a part of the RISE program as well. If you want to check out some yoga, we have that downtown as well, a new yoga studio. And after you get in some exercise, you can head over to the chocolate cellar. We have an amazing chocolatier here in Sanford, in downtown. And so it's always a treat to take the kids to go get a chocolate truffle either before or after we go to a show at the Temple Theater. My kids and I thoroughly enjoy going to the Temple Theater. It is a crown jewel. It is the biggest draw of visitors to Lee County is the Temple Theater. So we love going there. Dana talked about your parks and your recreation, and similarly, we have great parks and recreation and a greenway trail. And actually, Lee County is going through a renovation of all of our parks and recreation. So right now, if you came today, you would see a lot of dirt being moved because playgrounds are being redone and trails are being redone. And so we're very excited at what's going to happen in the next 6 months. I certainly couldn't talk about Sanford Lee County without talking about Deep River Sporting Clays, which is a beautiful 65 plus acre facility just north in Lee County, where a lot of people go out, groomsmen go out the day before the wedding and go out and shoot. We have a chamber tournament out there at the Clays facility. It's just a wonderful place to go and spend several hours of your day. It takes about 2 hours to shoot the course at Deep River Sporting Clays. And then you can conclude your day at one of our breweries. We have Camelback Brewing and we have Hugger Mugger Brewing, which is downtown. We also have a music series thanks to our Downtown Sanford Incorporated. We have a very active Downtown Business Association. And so they do a music series twice a year. And our kind of big festival for the year is the Downtown Sanford StreetFest and Fireworks, which takes place in October. So it is a wonderful day of food trucks and vendors and arts and music. And then the day concludes with a huge fireworks display, not 4th of July. So it's just a great place to come and visit and spend an entire day.
Absolutely. Well, I have, let's first talk about the chocolate cellar and what Laura Phelps did in that place. I think I put on 1,000 calories when I went in and I took a deep breath. It is just the most phenomenal, and you'll see some pictures of that on the webcast. It's sensational. And Yarborough's ice cream. I thought it was going to be a sleepy business because of the time that I went there, but it's a 3-room ice cream store and grill, and all 3 rooms are packed. Waiting online, the dining room to the left and the dining room to the right, packed, absolutely packed. I just that was very, very encouraging to see all of that. And again, as I said, that was a good month and a half ago. So God bless them. I'm great. It's just great to see that.
Well, I'll give a plug to Yarborough's if you have just a second. My oldest son is 16 years old and he works at Yarborough's Ice Cream. So thanks for giving them a plug. And
absolutely.
He's going to get a raise and a promotion out of this.
Yeah.
No commission on this part. No problem at all. The Temple Theater. Now, the Temple Theater seems to be a partnership or a shared resources type of thing. No, it's more of a partnership with the theater that is being built in Mosaic. Are you familiar, or have you heard anything about this?
I've heard that there is going to be a theater at Mosaic, and I know that it is in partnership with Temple Theater. You know, Temple Theater has been in Sanford since the early 1900s, been around a very long time. And my understanding is that our artistic director here at the Temple Theater is working with the folks at Mosaic to bring a theater. I'm not sure what the name is going to be, to Chatham County.
Yeah, Chatham Park has a podcast that I listen to, and I actually think there's going to be two theaters. One is going to be a regular 350 seat theater, and the other one is going to be what's called a black box theater, which I've never heard about. It has movable seats, suspended ceiling cables, and so you can do something in the round. You can, magician shows. It's very flexible as to thinking it's just going to be a white canvas screen that you're going to be just showing movies on. And they mentioned the partnership between the Temple Theater and I think it's the Black Box Theater. I'll find out more about that, and I'll put it on the webcast link, and we'll go from there. But that's great. Thank you very much. You have anything to add, Mark?
No, I'm very impressed. I'd like to see what's next.
Well, what's next? Well, we have Cindy.
She covers an entire county, right?
Exactly. And that's why I gave a little bit of the way I worded it is, we'll pretend that Siler City is 5 minutes from Pittsburgh. So you don't have me traveling back and forth for the 12 hours. So Cindy, we know you cover the entire county, but for this game, we won't count travel time. What else you got for us?
Okay. Well, you could also start out with coffee like you did in Sanford. You could start at the Chatham Rabbit. That's in Cellar City. The name comes from the history of rabbits in Chatham County. In the 1900s, rabbits they were a big business. In fact, there were like over 160 some thousand in the 1900s shipped out of Cellar City to other places. And actually in New York and other places, there was a menu item that said Chatham Rabbit. So just a little history there. After coffee, I would travel to Bear Creek and go to Southern Supreme Gourmet Specialties, taste some fruitcake and cookies and all the good stuff that they have there. They're out in the middle of nowhere in Bear Creek. They have thousands of visitors annually. Started out in a garage, and now it's been renovated and added on, and it's just a great place to visit. People they ship worldwide. And then if you come back towards Cellar City, there's the NC Arts Incubator right in Cellar. Galleries, shops that you can visit. If you want another coffee, the coffee shop's right there by NC Arts Incubator. Going on down to Pittsburgh, you could go to Burley's, the Mod, Carolina Brewery for lunch. If you were to go to the brewery, I got tongue twisted there, I would suggest in advance making a schedule to tour the brewery. You just have to call them in advance and set up a tour, and they'll take you in the back end of the building and show you all about how they make their beer, and it's very interesting. And then at the end of the day, or towards the end of the day, still in Pittsburgh, you could go to Carolina Tiger Rescue, which is a wildlife sanctuary that rescues and protects wild cats, big wild cats, and walk through and get your exercise there. Numerous parks, citywide, county parks, city parks that you could go to in the area. If you wanted to come back to Cellar for supper, you can maybe go to Best Food Cafeteria, Haley Bell Steakhouse. Both are very good choices. A couple of large events to mention toward the fall is the Pittsburgh Street Fair, which is in October, on October 30th. And then the Silk Hope Old Fashioned, and the Old Fashioned Farmers Day is put on by the Silk Hope Puritans. And that brings crowds from all over the place. It's a huge huge celebration Labor Day weekend. So you wouldn't want to miss out on that if you can come back in September.
That sounds great. That sounds great. And I went to Verley's last week. I went to Verley's, had lunch there, and had one of the Reuben sandwiches to die for, just so everybody knows. You got to deal with the construction traffic right now with what's going on around the courthouse, but well worth it. Well worth it.
Yes, it is.
All right. Coming up next is going to be our in New York, the very popular segment called Ask a Leader. That's where I'm muted. I'm sure you're all happy to hear that. And let each of the guests take the mic and ask the questions. Funny how that is, that the section where I keep quiet is one of the most popular segments, right? So it's Chamber Chatter, WCOMLP 103.5 FM. This is Chamber Chatter, WCOMLP 103.5, and I'm Rick Walsh. Chamber Chatter is a monthly roundtable discussion with North Carolina's business leaders. This program is underwritten by NC Chamber Maps. Let me reintroduce my three guests with me today. We have Cindy Poindexter, the president of the Chatham County Chamber of Commerce, Meg Moss, the executive director at the Sanford Area Growth Alliance, and Dana Wooten, president of the Clayton Chamber of Commerce. Okay, Ask a Leader. That's where I turn over the microphone and let our guests ask the questions. We're going to do this in age order. Pittsburgh was established in 1834. Clayton was established in 1869. And Sanford, who is the baby in the group, is only 147 years old, incorporated in 1874. So, Cindy, how about you? What would you like to know from our guests today?
I would like to know what some of their main challenges were during the COVID pandemic and how they handled them.
Meg, you want to take that, or?
I can certainly start and then turn it over to Dana.
Absolutely.
Certainly, the challenges were that we were, our restaurants were essentially shuttered. But our restaurants did a wonderful job pivoting how they did business. They started doing curbside. We had the Smoke and Barrel actually did some construction and added some outdoor seating. We had Miss Lacy's restaurant who pivoted and started doing family meals. And so her restaurant turned into, rooms full of family style meals that people were coming to pick up. Cafe 121 opened an outdoor seating area. So I think our restaurants really, of course, were the hardest hit, but also, pivoted the fastest and did such a great job. And so, now that things are opening back up, people are still really enjoying those new outdoor seating areas. So I would say those are kind of how we've pivoted through COVID, how we were affected and what we've done about it.
Thanks.
Dana?
Yeah, I would have to agree with Meg. Our restaurants were the hardest hit businesses in the downtown Clayton area, but they did a great job pivoting. They did the same thing where they could open outdoor seating. They did where they could offer takeout meals. They did that as well. They did a lot of curbside. Our Mannings restaurant downtown did a fabulous job, and it's probably one of our best examples of how they took their indoor dining out and did a great curbside pickup delivery service. So yeah, just trying. I think everybody that was affected by COVID, I saw some struggles, but I also saw some great ideas from lots of different types of businesses and being really creative and innovative in how they, maneuvered through this pandemic time. How about you, Cindy?
I would have to agree with the two of you. The restaurants were hit hard while other people, like our trucking companies did well. Supplies was a big issue. People getting supplies, it's still an issue, but our restaurants were hit the hardest, and I was very proud of how they did pivot and improvised. They made it work.
Yeah.
I don't know about you all, but I was surprised at the businesses that were very successful during the pandemic. You know, the local hardware store was just absolutely booming because people were home and working on their yards and their homes. And Rick, you probably speak to this. The real estate industry has just been absolutely, out of the realtors have done so well, the building business, et cetera. So while a lot of businesses did have their struggles, there were several businesses that, really did well during the pandemic. And that sort of surprised me. I don't know if it did you all, but it did me a little bit. I'm glad.
Just following up on all the restaurant conversation, I had it was a quick serve restaurant back in Pennsylvania. So there's a very slim profit margin. And when they turn around and say, okay, well, you can open, but you can only open at 50%. Basically, all you're doing is locking in a loss. You still have to, if it's the winter, you still have to heat the place, or if it's the summer, you still have to put the AC on. So whether or not there's half the people there or the place is full, you're paying the same price for that fixed cost. So everything is just locked in. The only thing you're not able to do is maximize the amount of table space. And now they're having trouble getting people back into the industry. The people, once bitten, twice shy. They like, I lost my house, or I almost lost my house, all because they pulled the rug out from under me in this job, which was just, it was a pandemic. There's just no other way to explain it. But they don't want to find themselves in that position again. And so you can see these restaurateurs who are just, they're lucky if they have 1/3 of the employees that they need to operate. So it's a very tough business. They were on the tip of the spear when going in, and they're on the tip of the spear now, trying to, get it back up and running. So I feel for them. I do.
I do too. And that was going to be one of my questions for Cindy and Meg was, how, as a chamber, how are you addressing the lack of workforce that your members are seeing right now? It's been a topic of conversation here. Just wanted to kind of get your feedback.
It's certainly a challenge for us as well. We're actually working in conjunction with one of our local breweries on a hospitality specific job fair, because we know that the jobs in that industry are just not being filled. Unfortunately, we've even seen in some of our restaurants signs on the door saying, please be patient with us. We are understaffed. So it is an issue in our community as well. And we're looking forward to having a hospitality specific job fair in the coming months to see if we can, and we're going to partner with the hospitality program that we have at both of our high schools as those students are going to be graduating and looking for work.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
And we've been partnered with the NC Work Center that it's at the community college here. We've talked to them. We've talked about having a career fair. We've also been in talks with the college and a couple other people in the region about workforce development. That's been one of the biggest things is, really even before this happened, there was a problem with hiring. Mm-hmm. Marketing and hiring was our number one complaint on our member surveys, was being able to market, knowing how to market, hiring people that had the skills they needed and people that wanted to work after they hired them. And it was already a problem. So now it's kind of like a double whammy. I mean, people are just really struggling. There's the Haley Bell Steakhouse that I mentioned. They used to be open for lunch too, and they're only open for dinner now because they can't find the help. And, some people are offering sign-on bonuses, but some people don't have the money to offer the sign-on bonuses.
Right.
So it's difficult.
And something else that I mentioned earlier in the broadcast was that it just seems that people are not aware and they underutilize what the chamber can do for them, and all the services and all just the resources, the informational resources, especially over the last 14 months when basically you're stuck at home. So you can't go walking down Main Street. You can't go, to the post office. You can't, all those things, the networking, as I can speak on a firsthand basis, I would get weekly emails from Cindy, and it covered everything from small business to the pandemic and everything in between. Do you feel that you are, this is basically for Meg and Dana, do you both feel that you are underutilized as a chamber? Meg?
Do you think that we are underutilized? There's a lot of information, like you said, during the pandemic that we've been able to share with our members about the Paycheck Protection Program and the Restaurant Revitalization Fund, and just that information that we're able to share with them. And so, a couple of people would say to me, "Oh gosh, you don't have any networking events going on. You must be bored at the chamber." Oh my gosh, we have been crazy during the pandemic, sharing information and continuing to have our networking events. We have 3 networking events each month. So that continues, plus all of the additional work of getting that information out to our members. So sometimes I do think we're underutilized. And so I encourage anyone that's listening to reach out to the chamber that's in your area so that you can get all of the information that's going to make you the best business possible.
What do you say, Dana?
Oh, I totally agree with Meg and Cindy. We are definitely underutilized. We provide so many resources for local businesses. And as you said about Cindy and the Chatham County Chamber, we were emailing, getting newsletters out, trying to provide some sort of networking opportunities for our businesses, even though they were virtual. Just really trying to be on the forefront of all the information that they needed to know. We did some informational educational series when the pandemic started. How do you work with HR? How are you going to file for your PPP? What, just all kinds of information for our businesses. So, and we also started a small grant small grant fund for some of the small businesses. So we were able to provide a little over $27,000 to 15 different local small businesses to help keep them afloat during the pandemic. So I think, we do offer a lot to our businesses. And Meg said, if you are listening, go to our websites, because I've been to both of these websites, and it's just a plethora of information for businesses in their areas. So, they should check us out.
Well, when the webcast comes out, we're going to have links to all 3 chamber websites, and also everything that you've mentioned, from the day tripper segment and the merchants and local businesses. We'll have links and everything else for that. Plus, we have a distribution apparatus to send out to 350,000 people that are in Facebook groups. So a lot of eyes will see our little conversation here for the last hour. So I'm looking forward to that.
Rick, if I could chime in here.
Absolutely.
One phenomenon that we've noticed on Long Island with the chambers is that throughout the pandemic, whereas typically a chamber has to reach out to the businesses to get them to join, and it's a constant process, we've seen across the board an increase in membership of businesses coming to the chamber looking for help, seeking out the chamber, whereas that process is usually the complete reverse of pounding the pavement and selling on the chamber's qualities and benefits and all that. Cindy, did you notice that at all throughout the pandemic, where businesses were coming to you for help?
Yes, at times. I mean, our membership is still, we've lost some members to non-renewal, but then our membership is still growing. I think it was week before last, we got in 6 memberships. So some of it was some that I've been working with for a while and followed up, that it was others that were reaching out, looking for help.
Yeah. Meg, do you see this at all? Or
I have seen that. So it's gone from pounding the pavement to the applications are coming in on their own, and it may be a business that I have never even heard of before.
Right. Dana, same for you?
Absolutely. We're certainly at this point seeing an uptick in businesses reaching out to us. I think they were in a struggle mode trying to figure things out. Now they're, opening back up and seeking out the chamber for help, which is good.
I have a quick question. I just want to go quickly once around the table. Does your chamber allow individual memberships? Meg, yes?
Yes, we do. It's a pretty nominal fee, but we do allow individuals to be members of the chamber and welcome them.
And Dana?
Yes, we do as well.
Okay. And Cindy?
Yes, we do. They pay the base rate.
All right, Meg. So ask Alita. Is there anybody here that you would like to ask something of?
Well, I'd love to ask Cindy and Dana both. And I'll just start off with saying, we've been doing everything, all of our networking events virtually since COVID started. And we're starting to have discussions about how and when we can slowly and methodically move things to in-person events. And just wondered from you ladies, have you all started having conversations at your chamber about moving things in person?
Dana, you want to take that?
Yeah, I'll go first. We have decided that we are moving our events in person this week. So this week we'll have our reverse raffle at our Deep River Brewing Company here in Clayton, and we will have our first networking event in person. We cannot have it here at the chamber because that's where we normally have it. We're having it outside at our town square. So we are moving to in-person events beginning this Thursday, and are very excited about it, actually.
Good luck. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And Cindy?
Right now, of course, all events are still virtual. Even our offices are closed. We plan to open up possibly around June 1. We are open by appointment, by the way. We have talked some about in-person events. We've talked about doing our Leadership Chatham program, starting it back up in September. And we've talked about doing a ribbon cutting for our Pittsburgh office because it is a new location in August. We have some other events planned too, but we have not yet set it in stone, the exact dates that will be back in person. We're hoping.
All right. Great. What a great first program. I want to thank my three very special guests. Cindy Poindexter, the president of the Chatham County Chamber of Commerce. Meg Moss, who is the executive director at the Sanford Area Growth Alliance. And Dana Wooten, president of the Clayton Chamber of Commerce. I'd be remiss if I didn't also thank our engineer, Dan Cox, and WCOM station manager, Donald Brumfield. And a special thanks to Mr. Mark Snyder for sitting in on our premiere of North Carolina's Chamber Chatter broadcast. My name is Rick Walsh. Have yourself a great weekend. You have been listening to WCOM LP 103.5 FM.